Are you ready? Are you ready for the news time? Yes, my name is Phil Chambers and I am here with all of today's wrestling news. But before we get started, make sure to like the video, comment down below what you think of all of today's stories, subscribe to the channel, and if you want to skip to any of today's stories, the links are in the description below. So just click the timestamps and away you go. But first up, huge news coming out of WWE SmackDown. All throughout the show, Adam Pearce was backstage and he was looking for Roman Reigns. He wanted him to sign the contract for the Payback pay-per-view that's on Sunday. He eventually found him, and Roman Reigns wanted to sort of have a look through it, and then he'd come back to him later on in the show, and Adam Pearce was stood there talking to Roman Reigns. Reigns was basically asking him to get some changes sorted, and then like once the changes made, he's good to go. But all through it, Adam Pearce was kind of looking off camera, looking just shocked in general, really. And then eventually Roman Reigns basically just said that he's going to win on Sunday, and that is not just a prediction, that is a spoiler. And then the camera pans out and Paul Heyman says, believe that. So we have our latest Paul Heyman guy, and it is Roman Reigns. So yeah, this is obviously the continuation of the sort of full heel turn of Roman Reigns after what happened at SummerSlam. PW Insider are reported that the plan is in place to have Roman Reigns as SmackDown's top heel going forward. The plan is also there to keep Braun Strowman a heel after everything that's been going on with the Fiend, and then have Bray Wyatt as the top babyface on SmackDown. So obviously the match at Payback is a triple threat, no holds barred match between the three of them. You've got to assume Roman Reigns is going to win it. And yeah, like I said, Paul Heyman, the next Paul Heyman guy is Roman Reigns. Now, what this means going forward, if they really expect fans not to cheer Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman when they finally do come back into the arenas, I mean, they've got another thing coming, surely. But yeah, that's the plan at the minute. Roman Reigns as the top heel going forwards on SmackDown. But speaking of big returns on SmackDown as well, Sami Zayn made his comeback after being away for like 4 months now. Jeff Hardy had just successfully defended the Intercontinental title against Shinsuke Nakamura, all the while AJ Styles was on commentary as well. And then as Jeff Hardy was walking out of the Thunderdome, Sami Zayn's music hit, and he just was his annoying self as ever. He was basically just running around Jeff Hardy, shouting at him, making it very clear that he thinks he is the true Intercontinental Champion. He had his own belt, obviously, called Jeff a fraud. He gave him the haluva kick, and yeah, AJ, he had walked off commentary at this point and we just kind of stood there watching it all. So yeah, that looks like that's your Intercontinental title scene as well. Like Jeff Hardy, Sami Zayn, AJ Styles, and like those three working together in whatever permutations arrive. I am all for even just Sami Zayn versus Jeff Hardy. I think that's going to be really good fun. We're going to have to wait and see how WWE punish Sami Zayn, for like leaving them for 4 months. But I guess that remains to be seen. Later on in the show, we did see him as well backstage with Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura. They were kind of planning some championship thing, I don't know. Sami Zayn walked in and he was like, welcome back, like welcoming them with open arms again. And Shinsuke Nakamura basically just said, like, what the hell has gone on? Like 4 months without even a phone call. And Cesaro was like, yeah, some things have changed for the better now. We're the champions. And Sami was like, yeah, that's part of my plan. And he was like placing his IC belt next to their tag belt. And like, championship party. But Cesaro was like, no, this is private. And they basically kicked Sami Zayn out. So it seems like they're not going to be continuing with Sami Zayn's little like artists trio that he had going. So yeah, you've got to assume he loses to Jeff Hardy at some point, and who knows where they go with him from there. I really hope they don't punish him for having morals and not wanting to work over the whole global bastard thing. Almost said the word. So yeah, we're going to have to wait and see what happens with that. But speaking of returns, there was another one over on 205 Live. Brian Kendrick came back. He beat Tahuti Miles. The last time we've seen him was in March for a big like 10-man tag thing, and before that it was February. So Good to have Brian Kendrick back. Always a solid hand, always an entertaining worker. So yeah, good stuff over on 205 Live as well. Now I may as well continue with this, but speaking of SmackDown, you may have noticed that Naomi was not on SmackDown, but apparently, according to PW Insider, there is a plan in place to give her a big push going forwards, to push her in a much stronger manner than what she has been in the past. Apparently, WWE officials have heard loud and clear what the fans were saying on social media. So it seems like sort of the win over Bayley last week, but even though she lost to Sasha in like 3 minutes, it was a bit of a mixed bag for her. But maybe this keeping her off TV this week is a bit of a reset. Wait for this Bayley-Sasha stuff to get out of the way, and then bring Naomi back for a big push for the championship, maybe. No word yet on when this might happen, but the plans are in place, and hopefully Naomi will be getting a good push from all of that sort of fan lashback about the whole karaoke thing. Yeah, that was really good, wasn't it? No. Anyway, speaking of the Thunderdome, apparently this is according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter. Moderators are banning people much more often than they were at the beginning, obviously due to the whole Fire Velveteen Dream thing and the other things that have snuck on there, let's say. But yeah, the Wrestling Observer newsletter noted that they were banning fans for anything they could, pretty much. There was a Ambrose t-shirt and he got banned. There was a fan that was chanting for Big E in the Sheamus match and he got banned. But I think that was also because the mod thought they were chanting something else. No idea what they thought they were chanting. But one thing that did manage to slip through these cracks was Kenny Omega, of all people. He managed to sneak onto the Thunderdome on SmackDown last night. And yeah, he was on the screen for quite a while, and he tweeted afterwards just saying, "I was just trying to have a good time. I honestly didn't think anyone would notice." So yeah, Kenny Omega in the Thunderdome. Who knew? I've got a final little note about the Thunderdome as well that I just thought was kind of interesting. The Wrap have recently spoke to Duncan Leslie, who has been handling WWE's sort of setup and execution of the Thunderdome. And I've just got an interesting quote about the crowd noises that they've been using. He just says that WWE uses what Leslie called a virtual audience mix. In layman's terms, they pump fake crowd noise into the telecast, but they can introduce the fans at home by unmuting the Thunderdome participants. Now that option comes with a slight delay and a lot of ambience at home, he said, but it's a nice option to have. So yeah, when they were first announcing the Thunderdome and hyping it up before anyone had ever seen it, Kevin Dunn was saying how amazing it was going to be with like lights and lasers and all the crowd in participation and actual crowd noise and actual crowd chants. Now it seems like we've obviously not heard that, but the option for them is there. They just might not be using it because it sounds pretty terrible, I would guess. I would imagine syncing up like what is essentially hundreds of Zoom calls into crowd chants and organic reactions is pretty much a nightmare. And then you also get people saying whatever it is that they might want to say on the Thunderdome. So the option is there for having that organic crowd noise from the people watching, but I guess they're just choosing not to use it at the minute. But it'd be interesting to see if they introduce that at any point down the line. Gotta imagine probably not with all the other issues that they've been having with fans in the Thunderdome. But yeah, that is the news for today. I was on my own, so I thought I'd just power through. But if you want to continue the conversation, you can on Twitter. You can follow me at PhilMyChambers, and you can follow everyone at WhatCulture at WhatCulture WWE. Please do like the video, comment below what you think of all of today's stories, and subscribe to the channel, obviously. But most importantly from all of this, actually, go subscribe to Kayfabe News on YouTube as well, youtube.com/Kayfabe News for all of your satirical wrestling content. But yeah, most importantly, go and have yourselves a bloody good day. Thanks a lot for watching. Goodbye, everyone.